6:33 today. We'll call the meeting to order. First up, modifications and changes. Anybody have anything?
I know.
Nothing to modify or change. Up next, public comment. Is there anybody here from the public that wishes to speak tonight? Hello.
Hi, Sam. I'm Lee Cattell.
What you got?
I'm it. It's what I don't have.
You are public.
I am public. Here. Before I drop that. That's my water.
No, thank you. I had
We've
some
had
something
that.
else.
Now, I believe that must be you got a call from Mike Hunt?
From the state?
Yes.
Yeah, Gary,
You got that call?
our public works guy took it today.
Yeah.
Gary.
You got that call because I contacted him to see what regulations were. He
Okay.
verified.
What's with the sand?
That's not a big deal. Except that that's only about 9 days worth. So anyway, brief history if you want it, so you'll understand it. This is on Maple Park. Village put in a new main line, 1990. Came down the north side from Church Street. North side, yeah. West side, my side, the south side. They got just by our house. They ran out of connectors holiday weekend. Capped it, gonna finish it next week, 30 odd years ago. So now I think we now finally agree that that's not looped only.
My understanding is, yeah,
It is not looped.
right, stops the house past you.
Correct.
Loop meaning it reconnects to Church Street.
It does not. That's what Pat Gilman was gonna do in 90, winter. And there was a time prior to you when the village insisted that, oh no, that's a loop. Well, it was gone. So what I got now is whenever the water maintenance, which is required, standard operating procedure, you gotta flush it. And I, no problem. Except that you've got a long section of pipe there that can't flush. The hydrant to flush it is 4 residences up from me. I got a dead end, 4 or 8 inch main line, 20 to 60 feet downstream from me. It's got water that theoretically been in it since 1990. And whenever the water pressure changes, I get the house loaded with that. The tainted stuff we can live with. But every time the water plant has to go to work and has to do, maintenance, shut down, whatever, and flush, I'm left with flushing everything. And that's out of my water tank, 1 gallon off the bottom, just to give an example. And I flushed that out after the last shutdown here, 2 weeks ago, over on Maple Park. Again, no issue. But before that, when we got home from Florida, I flushed it. Afterwards, in the last 10 days, that's what I got, taking just a gallon out
Of your hot water?
of my hot water.
tank?
And it's all the faucets, the dishwasher, I can't do anything with it, change it out. Other things like that. And it's the tainted taste. That comes at random, not only after a flush out. May have it tomorrow, it may last what? A few days.
Last a month.
May not have it till August. Without any relationship whatsoever to any kind of a flush out or anything, shut off. So I asked Mike, Hunt, whatever, Matt Hunt, and a couple of other people, professionals, what happens in this situation if I got a dead line goes beyond me, 4 to 8 inches, and the water's pressure's changed? I said, well, it'll work something back up. When you turn it back on, it goes into your house. I presume that's what's happening. So now that we agree that I'm not on loop, I was under the impression, told, that when we did the sewage project, we want to be right there with the equipment, we want to finish it. Now I'm told not the case. So my question is, are you aware of it? And is there any intention to ever finish the loop?
Well, I wasn't aware of that, no. That's something that our engineer would have a better understanding of.
Yeah.
We can look into finishing the loop, or putting a flush out. You're the end of the line, there's no other people passing you?
The line goes by me, to the best of my knowledge, there's one more house before the church, that's Henry Marcia. At that point in time, Henry was drawing his water from Church Street, so he considered himself uninvolved in his care.
He's drawing his water from church?
That was Henry Marcia's, what he told me in 1990-ish when the project.
So you don't know if that's still the case? It must be.
I do know for a fact that I was there, and I saw where they put in the old-fashioned dead man to lock that cap on there for a week. I saw it, and I am the last connection to that pipe. And the pipe goes beyond my connection, I really can't tell you. Certainly 20 feet. I doubt it's more than 60. But there's no more connection. Anyway, when you guys, I guess you guys wouldn't have gotten it yet, when I called, I'd have an answer. I'm getting pretty tired of flushing the water heaters and changing the dishwasher, washing machines. So I called the state, and this is Matt Hunt, that was talking to me, and he said he would contact the village manager and see if they were gonna do something. He responded back, essentially, not in the foreseeable future, is that correct?
To change it?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna ask you, I'll talk to them tomorrow. I mean, I'll see if we can see it when we open it up for the sewer project. My understanding is, or the challenge, I guess, in changing it is the line size. So we'd have to go all the way back to the corner, to the hydrant, and then come all the way back down
All I
through.
know is when you guys, previous to you,
Yeah.
long ago, I said 90-ish, they went around the entire
Previous
time with the new model. I can't tell you if it was 4 or 8 inch, I don't know.
Yeah.
Since I have no idea. Everybody, as far as I know, everybody put their residential hookups new, I did.
Mhm.
Well, we can,
So it seems like you would have the same as the people before you.
Pardon?
You'd have the same connection as the people before you.
I think that would depend. In our case, well, everything was there, ripped up, you know.
Gary Atherton did it. He was,
Yeah.
he was working with the water department then.
I just said, change it, get it out of here. I don't know if it's been in there for 100 years or 15 years. And so they cleaned mine out, put in new copper for all that matters. The next guy upstream at that time was Everett Atherton. And I remember that he also changed his.
So his pipe would be the same as your pipe, you could go in.
These things I don't know.
I mean-
I know what I saw in front of my house.
yeah, unfortunately, I don't have an answer for it either. I didn't put it in. I
I
wasn't
know,
there when they
nobody
put it in. But if we're gonna be there looking in that area, wouldn't hurt having it in
Well, yeah, you're not, but the board, the guys are there.
here. Yeah, for sure.
You're doing a good job, by the way, as far as I can tell. Couldn't ask for a more convenient group of guys working in your area. They go home at night, and you can drive anywhere you want.
Yeah, I'll talk to Gary. I mean, we talked about it this morning, or this afternoon, I guess, about it. I'll follow up with him tomorrow, find out what we can see when we're tearing up for the wastewater, and verify like past your house and so forth. Is there something we could do to flush it without having to loop it? I don't know if there's something.
Well,
Yeah, well-
the statute clearly says that it shall be done looped, with exceptions. And I press this, that's why I call this agency. I am experienced, I know the state says shall, but there's always loopholes. And you guys, if you so choose, you look up the same statute, and you'll see that it's like Swiss cheese. People, all kinds of loopholes. But the next clause says, you shall, without any loopholes, if you can't put a loop on it, put a flush on it.
Yeah.
From my perspective, not being a hydrologist, if you put a flush on that, it would seem to me that that's gonna take you up 30-odd years of sludge and water and garbage.
Yeah.
And once that's out of there, things will look pretty good even without a loop for the rest of my lifetime, which probably isn't that long.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll look into it for sure. We could talk to our engineer, see if he has suggestions on it.
Okay?
I mean, the only thing I know, because the wastewater I think is moving a bit, so it has to be 10 feet separation between the
Yep.
wastewater and the water.
Been there, I got it. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've got access to it, I got it too.
Yeah, so, I'll discuss with him tomorrow. They're supposed to hit, Maple Park, I think, Probably not by the end of the week. I think Monday or Tuesday they'll be over there. We're supposed to finish up the,
Well, 3-4 decades, a couple days, is gonna make a big difference.
It seems small compared to that.
I'm just sarcastic here, I can't.
At least
I'm
you have
certainly
good
not
outlook
blaming
on
it on you. You guys were all out partying, having a good time like I was when this happened. It's not your fault.
Sure?
At least now.
Sam, were you born
I don't
then?
even know if I was around. I wasn't around.
Well, you weren't around yet.
I wasn't around.
But your old man was, and you
Yeah.
stop in sometime and I'll give you all kinds of blackmail.
Oh boy, perfect, that's just what I need. I'll be right over after the meeting.
Is this water problem the reason you spent the winter in Florida?
Yes.
I have got it.
Is this the reason you spent the winter in Florida, because of the water problem?
I spent the winter in Florida because I was ordered to.
Oh,
Good answer.
Fishing is almost as good as ice fishing.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
dang it.
Any other public comment? Review and approval of minutes of April 25th, 2024. If everything looked good and there was nothing missing. Oh, we got something.
What I do?
We just, number 9, we have to make up our minds if we're gonna have NICS or
Oh, yeah.
NISC.
NISC.
And if we're gonna, not capitalize board in 9, we probably shouldn't capitalize the word board in 10, and that's all you had. The rest of it was perfect.
Okay. I can live with that.
Now, which is it?
NISC.
Okay, so it's the first one that's wrong.
Yep.
NISC.
Hey, if that's all I did, say.
Yep, that's it. Mother hen has to do the proofreading.
All right, if there was no other mistakes, I'll hear a motion to accept with those changes, or with those, I guess, edits.
I move we accept with edits.
Second
Sandy with first, Leonard with second, all those in favor say aye,
Aye.
Aye.
and opposed nay. All right, up next, bandstand stairs. Got some town band representatives here.
Can I set this up? Let me s-
Yes,
set it
please,
up.
or I can read too. Yes.
So, a couple of things, Susie and Ellen are here, I guess they're here for EBA and band.
Well, I was wondering what Susie's instrument was.
And,
So shall we loop 4 and 5 right together?
So look 4 and
Yes.
5 together.
We kind of, my hats are both on.
And it sounds like they even brainstormed more this morning, so
Yes.
there might be more to this, but, so I guess some topics. One, we got the power outlets are in.
Thank you.
And they're on 2 different circuits, so when they have bands and so forth, we have keys, so they're not accessible. So bands can go hook up and not have to go down in the basement at all, per se. The other thing too, I don't know if you noticed, and this may be any kind of information, but in the front, because I know one concern with the stairs was safety of the conductor or whatever. In the front 2, I guess, sections are removable. We could
The
probably,
current situation.
current situation, we could probably even make them a quicker connect if we needed to.
Like a gate of sorts?
It's not, they're just clamps with like a 9/16 nut on them, maybe take probably 10 minutes to take both off, but, so I'll let you ladies go over what, I guess, the new plan is, or thoughts, or whatever.
First, we want to say thank you for outlets. It's incredibly convenient to us as far as not needing to use the basement, and the pole next behind the bandstand also gets very full when we have a band with a lot of amps and stuff. Okay, shall I go, or are you?
Why don't you pony up as however you want to do it?
I was gonna read
Don't fight, girls.
Shauna's email this morning, because I think she said it very
Okay,
well.
so you read the email, go for that.
So the first, as far from an EDCA perspective, we would like to offer to pay for the black paint that would be required to paint the current railing as it stands black. And we would hope for input from the village on what type of paint to buy, and
Or just give us the bill, they just don't
exactly,
have to expense the bill.
that we would pay for that in a, right now, this year, maybe, timeframe. But as far as moving forward, we would like to respectfully bring up the possibility of trustees and representatives from the interested groups about the bandstand, such as the EDCA and the town band, work together to explore the bandstand as a full project. And we would really like to explore, I know you have many things on your plate, but what kind of grant funding there might be available as far as literally improving the railing and maybe stairs, and accessibility would be a big priority for the band and all of us. The EDCA would be willing to discuss helping provide funds for a match if there were a grant that were available. And being a historic landmark and a public building, there must be grants available for work to be done. We would be hoping that maybe a designer or someone could work on ideas or proposals for an overhaul that would take into consideration the aesthetics of the park, the lights, and the existing fences and the other places in the park. And I think just as much as I cringe at visioning and all of that, I think the band and I think the EDCA, from what I heard this morning, would be very interested in having a stakeholder meeting where we can all discuss what our vision is for the whole structure, instead of just putting stairs or railing or maybe railing, kind of without a vision of what the whole thing would be moving forward. And from the band perspective, we would really appreciate some, if there's discussion of putting money into the bandstand, accessibility would be a high priority for us, and especially also if graduation was one of the considerations about that structure, that a student with a mobility difference is going to have difficulty accessing that space to graduate, whether there are stairs on the front or the back. That was just where we were coming from, and we would really, really appreciate the acronyms that got thrown around today were an AARP grant and an ADA grant, as far as those things moving forward.
Sorry, the grant that I shared with you yesterday.
Right, with the village trust.
Yes.
Up to $25,000, I believe, matching funds maybe. Just came out yesterday.
No, this one's been yesterday. Well, I forwarded it to her yesterday, but I feel like it was
So-
higher.
I had an interest from the Harvest Fest committee. We have always had money there. We've worked on the drinking fountain. We've always talked about, we helped with the fence around the flags, and I thought it would be nice, I think other people thought it would be nice, to try to tie in a new railing that would be aesthetically complementary to what we've done. And then it was kind of thought about like, well, we think about that, they're thinking about accessibility, we could scattershot and get things done, but wouldn't it be nice if we could have, and maybe we could get someone who would donate part of their services, because I know engineers and designers are pricey, but if they could give us a couple options that took in the accessibility issues for the band, the lighting, the aesthetics of the park, the historic nature, and came up with a couple ideas, and then we could have the stakeholder meeting that she's talking about, and I would suggest even the Lions coming in, because they like to do improvements in the village, and they would have some monetary funds, maybe it would help, and then we could say, this is what we'd like to go for, and then explore grants for that, and then maybe there's funding for a piece of it, or the Harvest Fest says, hey, we can fund that, but we're working on the same scheme of things, rather than we got a vision, everybody likes it, now let's move forward with that, rather than stairs here or there, accessibility here or there. Agree with the current fence. We definitely talked about, there was concerns about the conductor falling down the stairs, which apparently has happened in the past. Whatever, if there was a railing, that it be openable, so that you could have the open for graduation, or you could close it for safety. And then maybe look at the whole thing, look at the leaking pump in the bottom, and there's always water in the bottom, look at the whole thing, and then go forward, and then we can piecemeal if we need to, but we're following the same vision line. And when it's all done, it'll look like it was supposed to, not haphazard.
I also know Brian's on. He'd
Yes.
also mentioned, which I didn't, I
Yes.
guess I didn't notice until
Front
he
center?
mentioned it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're right.
The plaque, I guess that's in the front, so
Yes.
if we were to put staircase in the front, what does that look like, covering the plaque?
Yes,
Because I didn't realize that was there,
yes.
so.
I can be there, what's the plaque say?
The grant that I shared with Abby.
Given to, donated something to the band 100 years ago,
Oh,
something.
but I mean, they would come up with options too. It just seems like if somebody really looked at it.
The grant that I shared with Abby and John yesterday, it's called the Village Trust Initiative, and it requires a local trust. And it's about community development for small communities, and it's up to $450,000.
You have to have a population under 2,500
Yes,
residents.
okay, we were just talking about the
So I
options.
don't think we're gonna
We
meet
do like
that
300
because-
too many people, we gotta kill
Because
some of them off.
we're in the town, you can't just do the village.
You
I don't know,
can't?
Probably not.
Village is 18 and the town is 28.
Why couldn't we? We're on
We'd have to
the-
clarify that because technically the village is part of the town of Enosburg, so I don't know if, because the census, I don't know if it breaks it
But
out.
not all of those people are village residents.
No, I understand that, but that, we would need to ask that clarifying question, and the intake form is due next Friday, so we'll need to make some decisions if we're gonna move. I think everything else, we should be all set based on what I can see on the intake form.
And but if that's not available, I think if you've got a vision together, there's ADA stuff out there all the
Yes,
time that might resolve one issue, there's,
AARP is not open again until next year, their stuff closed in March, but I can look at
yeah.
The village what initiative?
Village Trust Initiative, it's, the VCRD, I think is,
Yeah, that's got to
Vermont
fit
Rural Development.
probably the most amount of grants that I can think of, because it's everything. It's a community center, it's a park,
Yeah,
it's accessibility. It's,
Yeah, so, if we had a plan, and I think there's monies out there to work on at least parts of it, and, who knows, maybe the construction trades did the roofing, if they had an aesthetic piece, well, maybe they could create that piece, maybe they could deal with some lighting if we had a plan, So we'd like to be part of that, definitely the band, the EDA, I'm thinking the Lions, cause they've got money.
And they
Who's
use the
listening?
park.
And they use the park and, just get some people together to work on it and,
I have two concerns.
mhm.
One being, who is going to kind of spearhead this whole initiative? Because that could also restrict some of the grant funding sources. If you're a nonprofit, you're a municipality, who's applying, something like that.
So I think there's, I
Like,
know,
would the town band go for it? Would we go for it? Would the Lions go for it? You know what I mean? We've got to establish like
yep,
who's in charge.
right, well, I guess it would depend on the grant, if we're not available for that one, another one, some of them a municipality could do it, some of them it would have to be a nonprofit, and I think because of the multiple uses, the Opera House is a nonprofit, could use it as a vehicle for nonprofit money if you needed that. EBCA is a 501c4,
Historic.
so I don't know what that qualifies for,
We're not a nonprofit.
we're supposed to be able to be.
Yeah. We ended up with a 4 instead of a 3.
I'm not trying to impose more things on you guys, but just to have, when you see grants go by, which is not a thing that happens in my normal life, if this could be on your radar as something that you consider when you see the grant. The band is not anything. I think all of our finances go to pay the person who's in charge of us, and it's not enough for, so we are not.
I think the first step would be getting some designs.
you kinda need a direction so you can find a grant to fit
Yeah.
what we're trying
Getting
to
some
do.
designs, and then we have a direction to
Yeah.
then look at grants. So I think, I hear what you're saying, and I think there's just possibilities. Maybe it's, hey, only municipalities can apply, so or maybe it's a nonprofit that uses it, and the EBA uses it, or we'll do something on it this year, the Opera House, we'll be singing for the auditions, or, whatever, maybe there's an option. It's right in the center of the community, I gotta think it's gonna meet, like you said, lots of.
Yeah,
Lots of
and
boxes.
personally, I think that the village should be the one spearheading any
Okay.
project. It's our bandstand. So.
Yeah, and the footnote here is that for a lot of the year, 5 to 6 months of the year, you are meeting during band. So
Oh,
in
yeah.
order, like, that's where I'm going. And so just please, we really are very happy to give time and effort toward this, but it's just terrible time. So please, please let us know, you know, cause this works, I can come at 6:30, but just if this moves forward, and we would love to have our voice heard, and the reason that I'm not here a lot of the time is because I'm at band.
So if you had a
sure.
committee and you had
Exactly,
not on the
exactly.
way,
Please
then it would
ask.
work.
So that actually brings me to my second concern. Committees are very good at making sure that everyone doesn't get exactly what they want. You know, if you put the Lions into it because they have money, then they're gonna want their input. And if you put whoever, it doesn't have to be Lions, but whatever
Yeah,
person who is gonna contribute
Yeah.
is gonna have their voice heard. And it may be something that's way off of what.
well, like
everyone
any
else is
committee,
doing.
they make a recommendation to the deciding body, and, I mean, I think anybody on the committee's probably been on 10 other committees and should be aware of that.
Yeah.
That could be laid out. Yeah, I understand.
Well,
And
just
I-
like how we did with like the Vital Village and some of the other projects, this tends to be like 3 options and try to like figure
Yeah,
out
yeah.
how to pare it down to the right thing.
Yeah, but I think the people that use it would be good, it would behoove everybody to hear what their needs are.
Mhm.
So, however that plays out, I
Yes.
don't really have
Please,
any
please.
stake in it, really, other than I'd like it to look nice.
No, it's all right up what we wanna do, I think.
Yeah,
Because accessibility has been on our radar for a while,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
I don't know when those stairs disappeared. Nobody ever. It didn't come before us. I remember they were there, and all of a sudden they weren't. And I was like,
exactly,
"Where'd the stairs
I remember
The
that
ghost
too.
of N.R. Goodhue came and got them and threw them over there.
go?" Yeah, so we gotta fix that. It drives me nuts. There's no stairs there, but
Yeah, and it,
Okay.
anybody, yeah,
And we just feel very, very strongly that if there are stairs there, the railing needs to re-shut behind them.
yeah,
For-
like a
From a safety perspective for the conductor. who's
baby
gonna-
gate. I'm right there at this point. I know.
Exactly, okay, so yes, that
big
is,
giant baby gate.
and yes, totally, and honestly, frankly, in the band, there are a lot of opinions about anything on this topic, and we all have to kind of compromise, like,
Yeah.
just to send me here, so, you know, it's,
Exactly what I'm getting at.
compromising
Yeah.
is, we understand, and it's certainly like, we're very, very happy to, you know, see people with interest in improving the bandstand, that's awesome.
there-
But there are more priorities
Preservation
Then-
Trust too.
just
Anybody
stairs
Yeah, they
to
want
us.
us in the
you've
fall.
spent loads of money with, that would be like, yeah, I could do this at a discount cost, draw you up some sketches.
As soon as they hear the village or the town of
Yeah.
or the city of, it's okay, all right, a checkbook.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it may be better for. Well, is there graphics design at Vogue?
I was just about to ask
Not
that.
anymore.
No, it went away,
Went
this
away.
past year, the teacher retired.
Something like that would be a good.
I mean, we are trying to reach out to some colleges too, for other projects, so if that comes about, if there's like a graphics design or architect or something.
And keep your eye
Oh,
open with,
we have one of those at band.
Abbey Preservation.
Yeah, we just said
Yeah,
that.
so-
They did one for free for the Opera House for ADA accessibility one time, we just got picked. And so that, and they gave like 3 or 4 options, that would be a
Okay.
great project to bring before that.
Was that
Maybe
total
Bernie would
design or
help
just
us.
accessibility?
It was, they had sketched out everything, so then you could, if you agreed on the design, then you could take that to someone to really spec it out, but it had the whole vision.
The whole package, not just like an elevator or stair system?
They had one with an elevator, they had one with stair system sketched out. Banwell Architect were the ones who did it, I mean, they're an architectural firm. And they did it, it was for nonprofits, but, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, we could definitely look into
Yeah.
it.
I,
That was for nonprofits.
one of the,
Well, it could be for a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So like, just because the village is, well, if we do decide to spearhead it, any one of the interested parties can get something.
exactly, and if
Yeah.
you need the poorest one, it's definitely band, but we're not any 501
You're so poor,
anything.
you're not at anything.
Yeah,
Maybe that'll
so
work in
there
your
is
favor.
also that, but I will see about, there is a student at band who is just finishing her first year of architecture school, and I will see if she is has community service or anything. 'Cause
And a big heart.
I'm assuming that she has to use their software, use the school's software.
Well, you
but-
look at her and you just gesture to the band saying,
Exactly.
look what we're gonna do for you.
Exactly,
Okay,
yes.
so
I will
is,
see if that happens.
is that the direction that the board wants to go, is making like a design committee for the bandstand?
And it sounds like kind of like the park in general too, right? It's kind of what I was hearing there, just like some comments of just like tying the.
Well, I wanted to tie the bandstand, you know, that beautiful fence around it. You know, it would be nice to tie in that tone, that sense into the bandstand. So when I look
Well, I
at
thought
the
that's what they didn't want.
white railing on the bandstand, and I'm looking at this beautiful black thing going on around. Is there a way to tie it in? I mean, we talked about the Vets Memorial over there, they had a chain, like, would they didn't want one, now they do. So, you know, like, it just seemed like tying in the elements so it had some continuity,
Makes sense.
whatever that ends
Maybe
up
we could get the lights fixed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if that's the direction that we wanna go, I think what we should do is on the next meeting, for an agenda item for any interested parties in being on the committee to show up. And just, if we can establish a committee at that meeting and,
Do we want them to
Go from
come or submit a letter of interest to the other committee?
well, yeah, I think either would work.
Yeah, because they might not physically be able to attend and.
It'd be
I'm
nice if
happy
they
to
could
be
come.
here until 7. I have no problem with that. Is it the
And
28th?
we can schedule it early too.
Okay, the 28th is the next meeting, May 28th?
That sounds right, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, then I'll be here, and if you need me to write a letter, I'm happy to write a letter.
Okay, so that sound good? Everyone who's interested,
Yes.
put your feelers out, get anybody who might have money to come.
Okay,
Or an opinion, or
We have a Lions Club meeting tomorrow night. You want me to
you
bring
want,
this
yeah,
up?
mention something to them and just see if it's something they'd be interested in.
What lights are out, Sandy?
You know, the four, is it four, the black wrought iron ones, which still haven't been scraped or repainted or de-rusted or fixed at the top so that they actually produce some lights, but yet to leave them in the 1800 whatever that they were when they were made.
I mean lamp posts.
Yeah, the lampposts, the cast iron ones.
They should all be working. They
Well,
fixed-
they're working, but if you walk through the park at 10 o'clock at night, you'll find out they don't do much.
They need a different.
They look
top.
like night lights.
They look like little heat,
Exactly.
they need a different top. You know,
The globe,
yeah, the thing is great,
The post.
the post is great,
Are they metal?
but the top
Yes,
has
they're
been
cast iron.
transformed into something, I don't know what area, it's not at the same time period as the.
No, they look like they belong to one of those
Yeah.
gas heaters that you can buy
Right.
go beside your pool.
Yeah, it's got this metal.
quite possibly are.
So if the paint
Knowing Dave,
on
they
the
probably
lips
are.
really works, we could, depending on what it costs, we could paint those too. That would be an EDCA thing. That
Well,
would-
they need more
exactly,
than
but still.
they need more than just a paint job.
Once we try the paint, we'll see how it goes. Amazing, please tell us about paint, and we are happy to pay as the E EDCA.
So you're going to
Otherwise-
paint as a stopgap before
Yes,
you.
yes,
Oh,
so
okay.
they approved
So they're
up
matched.
to $300 expenditure on paint, I don't think it'll.
300?
Yeah, I don't think it costs that much to paint those railings, but.
You would be surprised what paint costs these
I
days.
know, $80 a gallon, you see what I'm
At
wearing?
least, yeah.
Okay, keep us posted on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
I will be here next, in 2 Tuesdays,
28,
from
we're gonna
6:30
schedule it
to
early.
7. Exactly.
6:40.
Put you right on at that.
Thank you.
Amazing, thank you, everyone. We are very excited to have outlets.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Okay, that covered 4 and 5. Up next, temporary curb cut for village land for staging area for Munson's.
Just back to the lights, so the one in the corner, I believe they've switched over, but that was one of the goals. Obviously the aesthetics of it, but changing them over to LEDs too. I think that's been done. So that also help with the brightness.
Yeah, because they are. I mean, they're
Dull.
cute,
very-
but
very-
they're not really terribly functional. The park is very dark at night.
Yeah.
Very dark. And not everybody, goes to bed as soon as the sun goes down. There are people that are in the park late in the evening, and they would be good if they didn't, trip over somebody that was sleeping there, or stray dog, or whatever.
Yep.
And it's just I think if they were, I don't know if they should be sandblasted, But the paint, if you feel of them, there's just a crust of layers and layers of peeling paint. Sort of like the house that you paint every year, you know, you don't ever
We're gonna
scrape
get
it.
sandblasted, don't say who's gonna do it, just make them disappear and come back, cause there's probably 6 layers of wet paint on it.
Oh, more than likely.
I feel that the spotlight on the flags don't show up that much either. There's, you know, the on the pole on
Yeah.
Main Street that flashes on, what is it? It's a,
I thought that came off a temple. I believe.
what's that?
I thought that light came off the temple. Masonic temple.
Yeah, it's off the pole, yeah. But I mean, it should be like a spotlight. It just like lights up the park. It don't really light
The
up the
flags
flags.
themselves are supposed to be illuminated at all times after dark.
There is lights down there, but they're not very bright.
They're not very bright.
Whose is that, Legion's? No, we had a conversation about this a few years ago. Who
A
owns
couple
that?
years ago, it went out and I had mentioned it and they put up a new light, but I don't.
It's either the Legions or the Lions that own that. Cause remember somebody owned the fence?
The Lion, it was the Legion, and then they
They
did,
own-
and they didn't.
Well, it's
and
our
they-
fence now,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but as far as all the monuments and the lighting and all that
Right.
stuff goes, I
That's
believe that is the
the
Legion.
Legion. And they're the Legion's light poles, I believe.
Yes.
We'll look into it either way.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
I thought the light in the pole was the village.
I think it's the Legions. I think, if I remember correctly, because the fence and everything was. All the monuments and everything were the Legions. And we've been painting them every year. And they said, thank you. Remember the cannon, there's cannon and stuff there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ask them. I bet they might have an answer for you. But if
I
not,
don't even think he goes to the Legion anymore, but ask Andy Bolio.
yeah, okay.
There'll be nothing political in his answer.
No.
Curb cut.
So temporary curb cut, I spoke to a couple of you folks on this already. And I asked Gary, there's no formal, for doing a temporary curb cut, there's no formal documentation or you technically need to sign off on it. But Munson is looking at using our, little section up on Water Tower Road for a staging area, like a little office building that they pull in, and so forth, so.
Is there even a curb there? You just need an access.
They just need an access,
And you
yeah.
don't have to fill out an access permit?
No. So, and they're gonna wanna do their own, I asked LaRose is right there, or LaRoche or Rose, that sits back. Andy,
Oh,
Andy
Lord.
LaRush.
yeah. We asked them, they were fine with us even using the trail that goes back. But Munson said they'll just create their own little, and there's some old dirt piles that are gonna flatten that out. They're gonna stay to the left of the tree line and basically almost to that dirt driveway.
Are they gonna take it out when they're done?
Yeah.
Take out the
Yeah,
parking
they're gonna
lot?
put everything back the way, or they'll put it back, I guess, how we want it, I guess.
I got no issue with that.
You want a motion?
Sure.
I move we allow them to do their necessary curb cut or non-curb cut, whatever they need to do to get their little office thing up and going.
Stan gets the first or second?
Second.
Heather the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Alright, old hydro on Samsonville Road. Got some stuff going on with that.
You have a little map here, not, if you need familiarity of it, the familiarity of it. We had a gentleman, sounds like kind of a retired fellow that moved to the area, has stopped in and asked a couple times about it. And then he got the ear of Shirley at the Historical Society, who then got the ear of Sandy, one of our
Who
trustees.
got the ear of other people?
We got the- At this point, I mean, I told this gentleman, I told Shirley, I mean, at this point, we're kind of busy. Can't really focus on this just yet. But one of the asks, there's a tree down on top of one of the old buildings. If that could be at least removed, so just not further damage is caused. So I guess that's one ask. Other than that, you know, I don't know what the expectation is. Want to give you a heads up because it kind of has swarmed around here a bit.
Yeah, that's the only concern that anybody brought up to me when they contacted me was that could we get the tree off the building?
The thing's like in really rough shape, right?
And Raymond
There's
said,
no roof.
Like there's 3 walls.
Raymond said the tree's been on the building.
As long as I
Forever.
remember.
Yeah.
It didn't just fall on the building. Cause I mentioned it to him and he said, what the hell? That
Yeah.
tree's been on that
Well,
roof for like 15 years.
I wonder if some people perked up because we cut that right away. There's a small right away through
And then
there
there's
to
a pile of
Randall's.
posted signs all up once
Yeah.
we cut that.
So I guess that's a question. I mean, it is.
Yeah, I
I guess the
understand
village
Mr.
is-
Randall's doing the posted signs.
Yeah.
And did we ascertain whether or not we own this? The last time I spoke to you, you said we have to find out if we even own it.
We've dug through the deeds and stuff. At this point, it's showing that we do.
Okay, well, I thought
The
we
only
did.
odd thing is it says 0 acres, but it shows us as owning it.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, if there's anything of this at this point, do we care that Mr. Randall is posting it when it's not technically his property?
Not his property.
Or do we wanna put an effort into the tree? This gentleman keeps stopping, asking if can we at least move the tree. I told him he can't do it. He asked for voluntary, if there's a volunteer work like any other park.
There's a liability standpoint.
Yeah.
I just explained that we had the whole Orchard Pleasant Street thing, to the people that spoke to me, and I said, the guys probably will do it, but you can see what's gonna be going on here this summer, and they're kinda busy.
Okay. Everyone's wondering what's up with that thing, and they want the tree off it.
That's the main,
That's it?
essentially at this point.
That's the only complaint that I heard, was the one about the tree.
And we know that we own it. Have we sold any easements to any other group, any Missisquoi Valley, Wild and Scenic, the upper whatever basin?
There's nothing we've ever sold.
Nothing?
I mean, the only thing that's, I was telling
Well,
Sandy
sold.
one day, yeah. I mean, Wild and Scenic I know now owns a section off the river, cause it's now Wild and Scenic. And then you have the rail trail that has their, right of way. So, I mean, when you get done with those 2 right of ways, there's really not much left.
And it's not land trusted or anything.
Didn't find anything.
It's just an adorable ancient building, and it must, for Wild and Scenic, the people on the river, I've never gone by it in a canoe, but I'm sure it's, from that aspect, it's very attractive, so, I mean, if we could keep it and have it looking even
Alan Grangehouse
decent.
told me that they have brought this up several times to the village and they didn't take them seriously. And they said, but like you said, it's a historical building and just try to preserve it by taking the tree off of it. That's all they want. They just want the tree gone.
Well, I think that should be easy enough. Call Jordan to get the tree out of it.
By now, the tree's probably half rotten.
But yeah,
It may not be too difficult, they're petrified.
dead, well, half dead, laying over, living the last 15 years. I don't know, you wanna just get the tree off it?
Yeah, I think it would be very nice if we took the tree off.
And then as far as the posted signs go, I know it's not his land, but why did he post it?
I haven't talked to
Just
him.
because we had clear cut it?
No, I mean, he realized we were doing that because they were doing some work because he's putting in a horse park or something. So that's one of the reasons why the guys were out there doing that and clearing to where he's gonna put a horse park.
Was this
Just decided he wanted to, so he did.
Yeah, I wonder if this is one of the spots where, tents happen in the summer. I know like along the river once in a
Haven't
while.
seen any there. There are some down at the western end of Missisquoi Street, but they're down at this
Yeah,
end.
no,
I've never seen
kayacked
any out
down,
there.
I just don't always remember like from the riverside versus the roadside where exactly I am.
It would be on the other side of the river, I think, if there was any tents. The 105
It's pretty-
side is fairly rugged terrain.
Yeah.
The other side is
It's
not.
hard to drive.
If you stepped out of your tent, it might be a long step.
Alright, definitely took some.
Again, I think it's because that was kind of scrubby 10, 12-foot brush through that tree line.
Yeah.
Now that it's opened up, it's a little bit more, everything's a little more visible.
And the posted signs probably got people looking, hey, there's a building back there.
Yeah.
I took some pictures in there. It really is a neat little building. I mean, I
It's
stayed
a cool spot.
outside,
I mean, I walked
photographed through the building, but it's really pretty neat.
Well, get the tree off
Motion
it.
to pick up the tree?
Was there, like a power plant or something like that?
There was a
Used
hydro
to be
and a mill.
hydro.
It
It was
was.
a wood mill, yeah, we bought it from the Athens Wood Company in 49, like that, 47, 49.
Do we have the date that it was built?
Maybe in that.
Must be in the records.
Probably
Yeah.
40.
No, I think it was closer to the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it needs new paint then.
Need something.
Yeah, all right. Good on that?
So remove the tree.
So,
Yeah, I guess we'll just take tree down.
do we need a motion or are we just taking it down?
I think we just take tree down.
All right, take that tree down. Oh, we'll make some people really, I'll make a couple of phone calls. The tree is coming down.
872 Reservoir Road water bond. What have we got there?
So I can pass this around so you can see it visually. The ask, and this is, Lori and I went back and forth, I'll take the blame, I might drop the ball. This, I think this is like a little over a year old scenario. So Brad Bates asked, or essentially, this is Berkshire. So our ordinance, our village bond ordinance don't essentially apply because it's Berkshire in the town. You know, it sounds like this was kind of deals from our reservoir down to the village line. You know, some deals made 100 years ago, whatever. So currently we have a water line that goes to Brad Bates' house, which is just past our chlorinator building in our holding tank. He does not want the water. We had been charging him a bond on it. If you're in the village, then you would have to pay that bond, but because it's in the town, he doesn't have to pay that bond. The only request is that we physically disconnect him, so nobody can go just turn the water on. So once it's physically disconnected, there's no more bond and he doesn't pay anything.
Wasn't there something where if the water line runs through your property, is it that you were able to hook on to village water?
In the village, yes.
No, in Berkshire. Cause this, when these two properties, the Harness properties went up, they had a request to get on village water, and there was something in the deed of the land that said that they had access to.
Right. Well, you can see them all here. She writes them out for you.
Yeah,
So like this one, a couple of them are free because they must have made some deal back then.
an easement of sorts.
Yeah, Sid has access but has never taken for any of his properties. So yeah, I mean, they're all,
Cause this guy, they got water 2 years ago, cause we had the directional line bore that, cause it's on the other side of the road. But I can't remember if it's, you had access to hook up, or you got it free of bond. I wouldn't imagine you get it free of bond.
no, because these people pay a bond.
Okay. And they're currently connected,
Yes.
all of these guys.
Yep.
Except for Brad.
Um,
Or he's connected, he doesn't use it.
Correct.
Okay. Well, if he doesn't want the water,
Then he doesn't need it.
he doesn't need the water, disconnect him,
Can't
no
make him
bond.
have water if he doesn't want it.
Yeah, we can't force him to do that, I don't think.
So has he been using this water or?
Supposedly no, he's, I don't know how long
He
ago
must be metered.
built it, yeah, he drilled a well and
Okay.
doesn't
Well,
want
you
it.
got water right
It doesn't make sense to me either, I mean,
Yeah.
it's fairly cheap water, I don't
He
know.
thought he would like his better.
there. Oh, whatever, that's good, there's good water in that area, I hear. Okay, motion
So
to,
physically disconnect and remove bond.
yes. Motion to physically disconnect and remove bond from Brad Bates' property on 872 Reservoir Road. Henry first, Sandy the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. Nay.
Nay.
Nix. Yeah, something.
Okay, motion carries.
A couple over, Sandy.
Any other business tonight?
I was wondering, John, if you had a chance to talk about the question, the depot and Pleasant issue.
I haven't caught up with Ken on that, so when I was looking at it, I could ask them. think it's just gonna be a challenge because of baits.
So I think what happens, because it doesn't really happen all that much in the summer, so what I've noticed, or in the winter, I meant, what I noticed is when people are driving down Depot Street and they take a right onto Pleasant, they're cutting the sidewalk, like all the way, like halfway behind Bates. So
Well,
like
they've been
as you're
doing that for
walking,
50 years.
yeah, so a little less in the winter, I think because of snow or
Right.
whatever. But if you're walking up the street, you can't see oncoming traffic, and when they don't stop at the stop sign, they're coming all the way up, but they're cutting onto they
Oh
stop
yeah, they
on
come
the
up and just do
sidewalk.
this.
And I almost got hit twice this week, or within the past week, and it's just, so I don't know if there's, like, if it's like when they're painting tomorrow, like maybe the line will help, or something with colors, or I don't know what could happen.
Sign that
but-
says, hey stupid, don't do it that way.
But like, yeah, like, it's,
I mean, you could do ballards. I mean, that might be an option, just a couple ballards
Oh,
through there.
Bates would hate that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's why they
saying.
load their trucks.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but that's why, like, you know, the building's there, their trucks are there, you, as a pedestrian, you can't see, and if they're coming right, you know, 20 miles an hour, cause they only almost slow down until they get to the sidewalk, and then they stop on the sidewalk.
So it gets better. If you're coming from like the church and you're headed north on Pleasant and you want to turn left on the Depot, they also hug that corner.
Mm-hmm,
So both sides are hugging the corner,
yeah,
and they can't see each other until it's too late.
Yep.
yep, and then, you know, we've got all the kids walking back and forth, and it's just,
Yeah.
so I just, yeah, so, you know, if there's something, the lines might help, or something more creative, just to try to help with some people. I get that the stop sign is in a, not the best location, but I kinda see why it's where it is.
Can't be on the middle of the intersection.
Right, but it's just like, it confuses people when they're trying to, you know,
Well, maybe-
you can't see at the stop sign, you have to be forward in order to see if there's traffic left or right.
Do you think adding a line would do any good? Think it might get somebody's attention?
It'll wear off, but
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
But it'd be a.
it'll remind
it's a
them.
2-day project
this-
this year, it's not gonna wear off.
Yeah. We'll remind them that there's an intersection there and it's not a parking lot.
Yeah,
And
just
there's
as
a
a little,
direction of flow.
you know, a little visual reminder,
Here in
maybe.
North America, we drive on the right side of the road,
Yes,
not the left.
there you go.
Yeah, it's,
And on the road, not on the sidewalk.
yeah, again, follow up with Ken on that. And then, in regards to the painting, I've made it clear that, I mean, it's supposed to be Wednesday, Thursday. Tomorrow doesn't look good. And then
Be another one of
Friday,
those summers.
we're flushing hydrants, so we can't really do it Friday. So if they can't get it all done, I, made sure that they may have to come back next week. and Take,
Yeah, I'd
take
rather
their
have
time.
them, I'd rather have them wait if they have to and do it when
Oh, we gotta
we've
do it
got
the
some
right way.
decent weather.
Yeah.
They can't do it in the pouring rain, I wouldn't think.
One thing that just came to mind is, like fire lanes and stuff, they'll paint the solid white line and they'll do like a bunch of dashes through it, so like
Yeah.
don't drive here. I don't know if you do that. Just thought.
That's something that people are used to seeing for other reasons, so it
Yeah.
might get their attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think a visual just to help people know road, not road. Cause it is hard to tell.
Yeah.
The people driving on it shouldn't have an excuse, they're not, they are from around.
Especially
here,
as they
but-
drive over the bumps for blind people.
Yes.
I mean, that really ought to let them know that they're not in the
Well,
road.
you know, and like with like teaching my child how to walk, like that's what I tell him, like you stop before, like right at that bump on the sidewalk side of that bump and you'll be safe. And it's not there.
But Mommy loves a car there.
Yeah, we'll see what paint does. I'd hate to move the stop sign and have it get run over.
Yep.
Or
Yeah,
put
this is
any-
cheaper.
Yeah, or put any barrier of any
Maybe not
kind in there,
everybody
because it's
knows.
gonna get flattened. But we'll see what happens.
We can start with the easy one and
Yeah.
then keep looking at it as long as we keep trying.
All right.
I was just gonna give an update on Church Street, I kinda did earlier, but they are moving down Church Street, finishing up some customers' lines, and then, like I said, hopefully by the end of the week or the beginning of next week, they'll be on Maple Park finishing up.
Boy, that is ugly looking water.
Mm.
Dear God, I'm glad that's not my house.
Well, it came out of the bottom of a hot water tank, and all the water that I've seen come out of the bottom of a hot water tank doesn't look too far off from that.
Okay, guess I won't look at mine. I don't wanna see what it looks like.
An old top,
Oh.
yeah, we replaced ours a little while ago, they're definitely, they do.
All the
They
They
sediment
get
settles to
like,
the
they get
bottom.
shaly, because of course there's heating
Yeah.
elements in there and all the minerals stick to it and then it sheds every time it cools, but anyway. Any other business? Hearing none, I will hear a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing,
I didn't get that letter, so if you wanna move on.
no executive?
Yeah.
Looks like we have no executive tonight. Let's,
Motion to adjourn.
modify the agenda here and strike number 10. Okay, hearing no other business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Sandy with
I'll
the
second
first, Planner with the second, all those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and those opposed nay.
Quickie of the
Cool.
year.
Yeah.